Hi, this is Coach Ray coming back to you with another learning snack. And these are quick training videos designed to answer the most frequently asked questions that I have been receiving from my coaching, training, and consulting clients when it comes to navigating this COVID-19 pandemic and really leading a team, especially during this challenging time. In the previous videos, we talked a little bit about downsizing and layoffs. So if you have not watched those videos, I would recommend that you check them out. The first video talked about specifically before you lay off, it's considered alternatives. The second video in this series, we discuss the process, right? Really looking at the foundational things you need to have in place. And then this video specifically, we're going to be talking about how to determine who to stay and who to go, who stays and who goes. Um, and so let me just give my disclaimer. Just want to let you all know that I am not a legal professional. I am not an attorney, nor do I play one on TV. I am not a CPA. I do not have any kind of certification as a HR professional. These are just training and educational videos to serve my clients first and foremost. And then I was getting a lot of these questions, so I figured you too might have um, the same question. So we're serving the community at large. So let's get into how do you determine who stays and who goes? Well, the first thing is, so first we want to decide, what does the company need? So what do I mean by that? I mean looking specifically at your company's goals. And when I say your company's goals, I mean your goals short term as well as long term. What I have seen a lot of companies do is they're like, oh my God, our sales are drying out, and the decisions they're making are not strategic decisions. They're shooting from the hip, and it's a knee-jerk reaction. The first thing you want to do is get clarity around your company's short-term and long-term goals. That is what you want to do first and foremost. Once you have that clarity, then you want to determine and figure out which departments or positions will be cut. Which departments or positions will be cut, not what people, what positions and what departments. So what do I mean by that? If I'm looking at my short and my long-term goals, then from there, I'm able to make a really great assessment, a strategic decision. For example, if I was my long-term goals, maybe I was going to be spending a lot of time on research and development. And now, based on the pandemic, we realized, you know what, we're just going to cut that. We're not going to be doing a lot of research and development projects. Um, we need to build our direct sales. If that is the case, then 9 times out of 10, the department that we're going to cut is R&D, right? The same flip side of it is we're going to spend a lot of energy in R&D, and we're not going to be focused on direct sales. Then we would look at our sales departments to make cuts. So that's the first thing you want to do is we want to cut based on positions, based on departments, not on people. Number three is once we have decided on the departments or the positions, then we're going to establish the criteria. So what do I mean by establishing the criteria? It means, how do we decide who do we keep? And there's a couple things that we want to look at. One is seniority. So we want to look at seniority. We want to look at performance. We want to look at salary. So seniority, performance, and salary. Sometimes what people do is they start with the salary, right? They look at the salary and it's like, ooh, they're making a lot of money. Let's remove them. Well, in a previous training, we talked a little bit about the importance of, maybe an alternative. An alternative could be, if someone has a huge salary, maybe asking them to do a pay cut versus removing them. So if you haven't watched that training, go back. So we look at seniority, right? Obviously, people who have spent a lot of time with our company, they know our history, they show their loyalty. We definitely want to reward that, but that should not be the only criteria. right? Because I know I have coached and consulted and trained organizations, and I remember specifically there was one organization and that will remain nameless, but there was a leader there, and we were doing a strategy day with them specifically. And as we were doing the strategy day, one of the things we touched on was really looking at goals. And I asked him, I said, what are the goals that you have for your department? And he said, I have no goals. My goal, he said, actually, Ray, I do have a goal. My goal is to show up every day, do my job, and go home. I was like, and you're the leader? Really? That's your goal? Um, what I later discovered is that he is what we call a what do they call him? I think it's a short timer, meaning he was about to um, retire. And he said, the reason why I'm not really thinking about it is because I'm about to retire. And I said, oh, well, when are you retiring? He's like, oh, I have 3 years. Oh, my goodness. 3 years can do a lot of damage to your team in 3 years with that attitude. So just because someone has seniority doesn't automatically give them a pass as someone that you keep. I also think it's important that you look at the people who are in the organization, and some things that we're measuring is attitude. Like you can have someone who has a dynamic personality, a dynamic attitude, and maybe they haven't been with an organization as long as someone else, but it just makes more sense to keep them. The other thing is with people with seniority, sometimes we might even look at, again, as I mentioned in a previous video, is allowing for them to retire early. In this case, that's exactly what I would have did with the short timer guy. So seniority, performance, we want to keep people that are high performance individuals that are very productive. Why? Right now we're working from home, so we need people who can that we don't have to micromanage. We need people that they can work autonomous, and they have the ability to be responsible, and they're going to just show up at a high level. So we want those individuals to stay on the team, especially since we know that 9 times out of 10 when we let people go, those jobs for the most part still need to be done. And so we're going to be redistributing and reorganizing our company and these roles, tasks, job descriptions, and all of these things. And so we want someone who can perform, right? So high performance, and then salary is definitely a consideration, but I would definitely recommend not starting there. So we establish the criteria. Once we establish the criteria, then the next step is to make a list. Make a list. So now that we have looked through and we looked at, seniority, pay, departments, positions, now we're going to make a list, right? So we're going to create a list of all the people that we are planning on laying off. Once we make the list, it's uber, super, super important that you check it twice. Now, I know it sounds like, Santa Claus, right? Make a list and you're checking it twice. Uh, this is no joking matter. Why do I say check it twice? Is because you want to make sure when you're looking at the list, you're also looking to see, you know, are there protective classes? Seems to be what's the word, a disparity in the people that I'm letting go. For example, if you look at a list and you notice that, 3/4 of the list are women that are over the age of 40, and you are in an organization that has a 50-50 mix of women and men, women are protected and age is protected. So you want to make sure that as you're making these decisions, you're not putting your company at risk by letting go of a protected class, right? So you want to just check it twice. And then last but not least, you want to make sure you keep enough people to do the work. I have seen companies, again, do a poor job of doing this, right? Like they let go, they're like, okay, we're just going to go down to a skeleton crew, but yet you still have clients that you have to serve at a high level. You still have all of these contracts that you have to fulfill, and letting your staff, just basically reducing your staff to a skeleton crew, is not only is it going to create burnout, but eventually what's going to happen is people are they're going to get frustrated and they're going to leave. They're going to be like, okay, not only did I have to take a cut in pay, not only am I working twice as hard, I'm working longer hours, I can't get overtime, and in the midst of all of that, it's not fair. And so what will happen is you will find that these individuals will soon be looking for other opportunities. So it's a tough decision. And I know that it's not one that's easy for you, but what I will say is that if you follow these rules, if you get clear on your company's goals, short and long term, if you get clarity around, the positions and the departments, if you make your list, if you check it twice, and then if you make sure that you have enough people to fulfill and carry your business forward, you will come out on the other side. And my hope is that at the end of this pandemic, that your business will flourish, that you will be able to bring back your team. And as I mentioned in previous videos, if you take good care of them, they will return. All right. So this is Coach Ray. As always, if we can serve you, if we can support you, please reach out to us. We are here to help. Live boldly, authentically, and courageously. Bye.